Some strange sounds are described by listeners like trumpets or horns, almost musical in quality.
All right, welcome back to the Conversation Unknown podcast. We're on episode 18, live on YouTube right now. We just hit 94 subscribers, trying to hit that 100 mark, because like we told you in the past, once we hit 100, next episode, we're doing nothing but sharing personal stories and things that we've been through. But since you're here, please take the time, hit the like, subscribe. We really appreciate it. We're going to shout out ahead of time all the links that we use in this episode. We'll have them in the description. Please go check out their channels. Give them a like and subscribe. They're putting out good content too. I mean, that's why we're bringing it here. Obviously, if we enjoy it and you enjoy the show, show them some love as well. But we're going to kind of switch it up for you from what you're used to seeing and getting into a little bit darker stuff.
Ooh, paranormal?
Yeah, a little paranormal
start
stuff.
dipping into some paranormal action.
You know, it's in the channel description. I figured we needed to dip our toes in eventually. So
Yeah. We got a little paranormal this round and next round lined up.
nice. You guys have anything to add before we kick it off? I think you got me queued up first.
Yeah.
You got
See here.
anything you want to add or want to hop
Good to
in?
go.
Let's hop right in.
Let's jump in the deep end. Well, I'm just going to preference what I got here is I know Tazla knows a bit about this. I think Benny, we talked a little bit about it, but this is something I saw years ago, and it intrigued me because when you see like these urban legends or like these crazy like cryptid or like weird stories, they always have these long origins, like werewolves, vampires, like centuries and centuries old like lore. But the crazy thing is about these next couple clips I'm going to show is that this didn't start until like the late 80s, early 90s.
Really?
And the weird thing is like the thing that intrigues me about it is like, I dipped my toes in the water, watched a bunch of videos, a few like YouTube documentaries on it. Very cool stuff. Interesting. Just left it there. I haven't looked at it in a couple of years. But recently it's been popping back up in my feed and like my algorithm for some reason. And it's weird because I have not talked about it or typed it in, but I was like, you know what? I want to plug this out again because it's a fun topic. And I think being that it's like newer lore, like it kind of adds to an intrigue. But one little caveat I want to throw in before we hit play. I know in a previous episode we talked about how like I'm walking through stores and stuff. Sometimes people like divert from me. And there's times where I've seen people's eyes just like not turn black, but their pupils just fully dilate and they like are trying to avoid me like the plague. And I know this sounds crazy to like anybody who's watching, but like I'm telling you, this happens. And so I always watch people's eyes and I'm overly friendly. Like I don't look intimidating. I don't think, I'm just making my way downtown, but,
Yeah, I'm actually glad that you brought this topic up because I kind of forgot about it. But like you said a little while back, I'd actually dove down this rabbit hole quite deep. And it's like I kind of want it to happen to me, but I don't. Because I don't know, it scares the shit out of me. It's crazy.
It's really creepy. And I've shot the question onto like, maybe a dozen people that I've talked to that like I trust enough to like not just throw me under the bus and be like, this dude's freaking crazy, but only like maybe two other people have ever told me that they've seen like the full black pupil dilation and stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know, if my boy Carter's watching, he tells me, Carter. And one of the last videos in this episode I got from him too, one of the funny clips. So shout out to Carter, man. But crap, I kind of lost my train of thought with the Carter thing. He's like, he always tells me, he's like, you got the gift of discernment, man. Like, you like kind of see things that other people don't. And I was like, well, that's a very kind thing to say first off, but two, it kind of made me look more into it. And I'm like, dang, that's an interesting thing. But after that long rant and intro, I'd love to dig into these videos, see what you guys think.
If you ever have received a knock on the door by a child with black eyes, asking to be let in, you'd better be afraid. Encounters with black-eyed children have been reported worldwide, and even though they appear as lost children, pale, emotionless with their monotonous voices and strange behavior that is not what you should be worried about. Well, you see, one man from Texas claimed two black-eyed children knocked on his car window, asking for a ride. When he refused, the streetlights flickered, and the children simply vanished. Another report from Vermont described a woman who let them into her home, only for her health to deteriorate mysteriously afterward. Could they be spirits, aliens, or something even darker? Or why do they always ask to be invited in? But maybe the question we should all be asking is...
I mean, definitely vampire rule.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
for
That's
real.
what I thought.
Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of creepy to me, the whole get invited in thing. But really, like, what are they? Like, why are they always kids?
Well,
Like,
kids are kind of like trustworthy, maybe. Well, not trustworthy, but like innocent.
yeah.
So it's the perfect like backdoor entry sort of way to sneak in.
True story.
I mean, yeah, shit.
Yeah, there is something like vulnerable about that, and people do tend to gravitate towards helping kids. Like if you see a lost child or something, people are gonna be like, "Where's your parents?" You know, they're more likely to help. You know,
Right,
if they're
right,
not a freaking
exactly.
predator. You know, and but I feel the same way about child ghosts. Like, I don't think. First off, I don't believe in ghosts. Like, I think that like demons are like interdimensional beings or whatever. But like, as a faith believer and like Christian, like I don't think like any child spirits would be left on earth. They'd probably go to heaven.
Right,
And,
right.
But regardless of that, that's his personal opinion, whatever. But like I always think it's like a ploy to get you to gain trust into it. Like if anybody's had those like child spirit experiences, like it's like they're trying to gain your trust before they really like stick it to you, man. Like,
Right.
all right.
I'm just thinking of gosh, what's that one? Children of the Corn. That's a creepy one. Remember that, dude?
Dude, for real.
Malachi.
Yeah. All right, we got another one here.
Yeah, man. I kind of brought a couple.
Texas, 1996. Brian Bethel is sitting in a movie theater parking lot when he hears a tapping on his car window. He is startled to see two kids with jet black eyes staring back at him. The extremely pale, smiling children politely ask him for a ride home. An overwhelming sense of fear came over Brian. He declined their request, quickly rolling up his window. The children's faces instantly became twisted with rage. They began screaming and demanding that he invite them into the car. Brian panicked and drove away as fast as he could. When he looked in his rearview mirror, the children had vanished. Brian is a journalist with the Abilene Reporter, so he decided to report on his experience with the black-eyed children. His story quickly spread online, resulting in many more witnesses coming forward with their own encounters. It turns out the sightings date as far back as the 1950s. Virtually all eyewitness accounts have similar unsettling elements. A child or pair of children politely asking you for help. They're lost, or they need to use your house phone, or need a ride. A strong sense of fear and dread is common among these accounts, even before noticing the strange black eyes.
Oh man. Well, thank God we don't have house phones anymore, right? Like,
Right? I mean, Jesus.
Ooh.
Yeah, and then you know what's interesting? Now I realize why, because even though I was telling the same story, it actually told about the journalist. But that's like the first, I think, and only time I've ever heard him talking back as far as the 50s. And it's not that I don't believe that, but like almost everything that I've come across, I'm not sure about you, Tazzle, but is like late 80s to early 90s was
Yeah.
like when this phenomena like kind of came to
Yeah,
light.
like every time I've ever heard of any of these stories, usually half of them, if you don't let them in, they get pissed and they find some way to like scare you to let them in or force their way in. I
Yeah.
don't know. That's crazy though, man. There's the black-eyed children.
Yeah, they look so creepy.
And the wild thing is like the oldest account that I've ever come across of them talking about them was like early teenager, like maybe like 13ish, like no, like 7th, 8th grade-ish.
Right.
Like I've never heard of any accounts of anything.
Yeah, they're always like the same age, kind of ish.
Yeah, like old enough to kind of understand why they might be wandering about, but not like old enough to think it's a good idea, and definitely not young enough to be like, wait, what the?
Oh man, I wonder if there's any other like countries, if it's like kind of like specific to the United States, or if they have like similar story. I wouldn't be surprised to learn that like Europe might have like similar shit. I feel like it would be like one of those global things.
I'll tell you this, man. Like with the rules, Romania's got to have a ton of them.
Oh yeah, dude. Romania.
I haven't heard anything about like other countries
No, I haven't
with this
either, to be
phenomena.
Interesting.
And like you said earlier, I when I first found out about it, I did look quite a bit into it because it's an interesting story of something I never heard of before, and I don't know, I was interested. I mean, it's creepy as hell, and you get. Well, you know, the other thing that's crazy too, like, and I'm gonna kind of take a little slight detour here, but the whole knocking on the door, asking for permission to come in. Have you guys ever heard? This is a little bit off topic, but have you ever heard about the thing like where you hear a knocking on your door and like you go and you look at the people and there's just nobody there, right?
No.
Okay, so like, has this ever happened to you? Like somebody's knocking on the door, by the time you get there, like there's just nobody there, right?
Damn, that I feel like one time I had a dream and I thought I heard somebody knocking and I checked and there was nobody.
Right.
That was the only time I can think of, but I don't. It was one of those like, wait, was I dreaming or?
Right. Well, the thing behind this is that in the paranormal community and stuff, like it's basically like evil spirit trying to gain entry, and by you opening the door, it's almost like acknowledgement and like almost an invitation by just opening the door. So to all you out there, if you believe in this, if you're knocking on the door and you look out that people and nobody's there, into the door.
Oh man, it's a good advertisement for Ring cameras,
right?
It's kind of like what they say about the evil elite and the big plan that they're doing, that they have to show you or tell you that it's going on. They have to like expose it or it's some way, shape, or form. And if you just let it happen, then you're acknowledging it and giving it the okay.
Yeah, it's what do they call it? Something programming.
What is that?
It's pre-programming, or like what do they call it? It's there's an actual term for it. I don't know.
Just makes me think of silence is compliance or something like that. You know,
that sounds actually better than what maybe you were thinking. That's it.
We'll just roll with that. But yeah.
Roll on with that.
All right, you got another one here?
Yeah, just kind of. I figured I'd stay on the same topic, you know.
In history, and in basically every culture around the world, you'll find stories about creatures with eyes so black they're like staring into the abyss. If you're one of the unlucky ones that find yourself making eye contact with them, they invoke a feeling of immense dread, and there's good reason for that. It's because these beings are actually taking away part of your soul. Hey guys, it's Andrew, and thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Everytown, where today we're talking about something no human truly understands, yet we all have heard stories about them in one form or another, and each and every one of them is terrifying. They revolve around creatures or entities with jet black eyes that appear in the middle of the night looking to take something from you. Depending on who you ask, these things have been called demons or vampires, and some say evil spirits and even aliens. And today, in our culture, well, we call them the black-eyed children.
So, what's the consensus? I mean, what do you guys think? I mean,
I feel like it's so relatable, like, and I can't put my finger on any specific experience, but I've been creeped out before by kids, like, not necessarily black-eyed ones, but ones that have like a I don't know, a sort of an aura about them, and so it just seemed relatable.
All I know is that if I'm in the basement and I shut that light off and it's dark before I get upstairs, I'm hauling ass.
Yeah, absolutely.
dude, that brings me onto something. That's funny as hell because well, first off, yes, I do find kids oddly creepy. Not like when they're with their parents or out, but like if you just see like a kid out like by themselves or like especially at nighttime, like there's something just eerie about it. Like it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't belong. But yeah, the basement thing. I remember like specifically when I was younger. As soon as I hit that light, like beeline it, and like this overwhelming feeling of dread, like something's chasing me, like you. And like I don't really have that as much now. Like I spend most of my time in the dark, and that's probably why my eyes are so bad because like I always just got everything like turned off, and the TV is like the only thing on. But like, I mean, what do you think that? What do you think that comes from? Do you think that's like true intuition, or do you think it's like just like movies and shows we've watched, or like what?
I think that it's probably a little bit of both. It's like, for example, I'm afraid of spiders, like big ones, and I feel like it's so deeply ingrained into me. It's like in my DNA.
Arachnophobia.
Yeah, dude, hardcore arachnophobia. And it's like, I feel like it's in my DNA, like a billion year or a million years ago. I had like a ancestor that had a bad run-in with a spider, and that
Caveman,
it just
Danny.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah, dude. Yeah.
Oh my god.
No, it's probably like a survival thing. It's like, I don't know. Frankly, I wouldn't trust anybody that says they're not afraid of, hit the lights in the basement,
That's a really good point, though. Is like the whole DNA memory, because like that's been proven to be true at this point.
Yeah.
And I mean, we got to think like back before there's more people and like more buildings and stuff, there was more oxygen in the atmosphere. Things grew bigger, like plants and like other creatures, like we know there were saber-toothed tigers, all this wild stuff, that woolly mammoths, whatever, but think about like the Amazon, how they have those Goliath spiders like the size of a dinner plate.
Dude, I know.
Can you imagine how big a damn spider was? Like
Size of a car, dude.
like rolling up on one. I mean, if I saw a Goliath spider crawling
I'd
through
die.
anywhere, I don't care where I am, like even if I'm somewhere I know there's gonna be big ass spiders, I'm gonna be like, nope.
Imagine a spider big enough you could shoot it with a gun.
That's the first. I was literally just about to say that. The first thing I would do is shoot at it. Like I won't even like try to club it, step on it, nothing. Like just. I'd be looking like Rambo with a minigun, just
unload the whole
belt.
clip, dude.
Oh my god! You want to romp with me?
Yeah.
You think you're big time?
All right, let's close that out. What do we got here? Ooh,
Right.
let me
This is
unmute
this little another. I always got to throw Taz a little fucking little prop video.
Thank you.
Throw it over to him as a little layup and see what he comes up with.
There's a whole civilization living inside the earth, right below our feet, okay? And we're talking massive underground cities, hidden from us forever. I know it sounds crazy, but stay with me here. I was talking to someone, let's just say they're close to some government sources, and they laid it all out. You ever wonder why we don't drill deeper than a few miles into the earth? It's not because we can't, it's because we're not allowed to. There's this ancient race down there, advanced, way smarter than us, and they've got technology we can't even dream about. I mean, think about it. How do you think all these UFOs, sudden sinkholes and volcanoes are connected? They're controlling it from within, right? I've seen diagrams, seriously, maps that aren't supposed to exist. It's all interconnected. And okay, remember a few years back when all those people just vanished at national parks? No bodies, no leads. That wasn't nature, folks. They went down into the earth. How do I know? Well, my neighbor, gone one day here at the net. There's...
Oh man, that's a good point with the missing people. Have you ever seen that map of missing? It's two maps overlaid on one. One is the cave systems of the United States, and the other is where people have gone missing, and they line up perfectly.
The 411 map.
Yeah, bro.
What's the 411 map?
Dude, you don't know about the missing 411?
Oh, what's
The
that?
missing 411 map shows of all these people that went missing in national parks in the last, like, I don't know, decade or something like that. And if you put the map of where all these people went missing in these parks, it lines up with every major cave system in the United States.
Damn.
So check this out, though. So what he said is 100% true. Remember, I think it was last episode, we were talking about how those people would be in the state parks and they would go missing, and they would either never find them again, no trace them, they'd find their clothes like laid by the side of the river, no trace them, or like that little girl that's like popped up, said, oh, this old lady took me, blah, blah. Dude, like he said, lines up with all these cave systems. But there's one thing, I mean, it's pretty much telling you right there on the title, Freemason draws flat hollow earth. What does that drawing look like?
I don't have my glasses on, but like, I don't know.
I know the triangle for the
Death
play buttons
Star?
in front. No. If you like remove that triangle, what does that look like? The ball. You ever look at the back of a dollar bill?
Oh yeah.
You ever look at the back of a dollar bill on weed?
Dude, what's that guy doing in the bush? What is he doing there, man?
Red team go.
Right? But think about it. It looks like the all-seeing eye.
Yes,
we know
that's
what
the
sound
one.
was it. Soundgarden made that whole black hole song. Song Black Hole Sun.
Right.
I mean, and if you think about this, think about looking at an eyeball from the side,
Oh yeah.
and then that black part is what receives the light information. And the surface part, where the flat Earth would be basically like the color, like your pupil and your color part, like pupil's your black hole sun, basically. But then that's the color part, and then the rest of it's a lens, man, like an eyeball.
Man, well, the other thing that I think about is we barely get into, like you said, we've only drilled a few miles deep into the Earth. And the Earth is, I mean, flat or not, it's got a diameter of like 25,000 miles. One or like say we went 5 miles into that. That's like less than 1/10 of 1%. Like there's a lot of shit going on, dude, down there. And then we talked about that last episode with the noises and shit.
I mean, like I think he might even be off base. Like, I mean, is it really a few miles? Because I think they drilled 1 mile in Siberia, and that was like the deepest they ever got.
It's less than you'd think. It's like once you get down to that level, like they say that it gets like, it's not rock anymore. It's like silly putty, basically, and it's really hot. But I mean, we have a spaceship that just like, or a probe that just went around the sun. So I mean, we can handle pretty high temps.
I did hear that hole in Siberia that they did drill like deep as fuck, and when they got to a certain point, they put a recorder down there or something, and they could hear like the abyss.
Oh man,
Like the sounds of like the underworld.
Damn, that's creepy. That just
There's
creeps me
actually
out.
a recording of it, and it's scary as fuck. But apparently they once they figured that out, they like cemented that shit up and covered it up. They're like, nope, the fuck out of here. Nope.
Dude, I'll be honest, I couldn't listen to the whole like recording. Like it sounds so eerie and creepy that like
it's bad.
after like a minute of it, I was like, dude, I gotta turn this off. And it's kind of like that Aztec death whistle. Like you can only hear it so many times before you're like,
it gives you
I don't wanna
goosebumps,
hear
but
this
not
again.
in the good way.
Yeah, this recording does that.
Yep.
Absolutely.
it just triggers something inside of you that's like, nope, no freaking way.
Yep.
I like, as much as I would love to know what that is, I don't want to know what it is.
Nope.
And that's all I gotta say about that. Man, whenever I see a girl with dark hair sitting in a white dress, handles around, no good. Nothing good's coming from it.
Okay. This video is a really, really short little clip, but it's like I've seen it a few times, but it's like this person's really creeped out about their neighbor on some paranormal shit and doing some spying, peeking out of the blinds. Okay, imagine if you guys saw this shit. You look at your neighbors. Watch this shit. Okay, ready?
All right.
Yeah.
Can I see my neighbors?
Yeah.
Tweakers.
Right. So all of a sudden, shoot, they're at the table, and all at once the light comes on, and they look at you. What? What?
What's that
Yeah,
meme?
there's a bunch of wooks and
Yeah. What's the meme is I told bro we geek hard. Like this is you guys are fucking geek, dude.
It's a story. It's something you can find on the dark web. If you got a weak stomach, I just want to warn everybody who's watching or listening. This is a pretty graphic story. So, if you can't stomach it, maybe skip this one. But this is pretty nasty.
I live for this shit.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
Before I begin, never look this video up. This is a massive trigger warning. The video begins in some sort of room and music is playing. The first song that plays is Sweet Child O' Mine by Guns N' Roses. And the camera pans to the victim on the floor with plastic wire. And the torture had already began before the video started. Because the victim looks like he's already been through complete brutality. His hands have already been cut off and his face has been completely flayed, which means skinned. There is no skin on the victim's face at all, and his eyes have been gouged out. And there is an insane amount of blood all on the floor. But the most messed up part about this is that the victim is hooked up to some sort of IV, and the IV is pumping him with drugs to keep him alive. And completely aware, making sure he feels everything that is happening to him. At the start of the video, they try and slit his throat with a farming sickle and press it against his jaw. But when the victim begins to scream, they shove a box cutter in his mouth to shut him up. His screams are absolutely gut-turning. They kept going from screams to gurgling, from screams to gurgling. As the video progresses, they take the box cutter and slit his throat about 40 times. And keep in mind, the victim is still alive and aware of everything because of the drugs they are giving him to keep him alive. Also, the cartel members are mocking and laughing at the victim the entire time. They then continue to try and slit his throat with the box cutter and were going at his neck numerous times. All while the song Funky Town was playing in the background, hence the name of the video. The cartel members kept having to physically restrain the victim, meaning that there was still a lot of life left in him. And the amount of pain he had to be in is completely unimaginable. At one point in the video, a cartel member has his foot on his chest holding him down, and another time they shoved a pole in his mouth holding him in place. But the worst part about the video is towards the end, where the victim manages to loosen his arms from the restraints and immediately tries to touch his face. But remember, the victim has no hands to feel, no face at all, and no eyes to see. The victim was most likely in so much shock that he likely forgot he had no hands, but instinctively the victim still tries to touch his face. It's absolutely horrifying, and the video then concludes. Also, keep in mind the victim was still alive when the video ended, so who knows what else they did to him before he died. Because they were just keeping him alive to torture him. What makes Funky Town so horrifying besides what happens in the video is the mystery behind the video. We don't know the victim's name, we don't know why he was being tortured this way, or what he did. The only thing that we do know is that it took place in Mexico and it's extremely horrifying to watch. You can make an argument that nobody has ever been tortured this bad in history. Funky Town is definitely one of the worst videos out there and I don't recommend watching it ever. But to start off this series, Funky Town has the first spot.
Whoa, guys. This is why you don't play around with the cartel.
Right. Right.
Dude,
Never.
That's great. Like, that's absolutely insane. But have you guys ever heard of a Colombian necktie?
Yeah. Is that where they cut you around your waist and then peel your skin up around your head and then like tie it in a knot above your head, and then you don't die from the blood loss, you die from suffocation because you're in like a bag of your own skin?
No,
Whoa.
that sounds way worse than a Colombian necktie.
Damn.
But thanks for that, Benny.
Yeah.
Colombian neckties where they like slit your throat and they pull your tongue back out through and then through the hole in your slit.
That sounds pretty bad.
Yeah, but I don't know. It sounds pretty worse being peeled from the waist up and.
Dude, it all sounds bad.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Have you guys ever been on the dark web?
No.
Never even heard of it.
One of the misconceptions is that it people think that it's illegal to go on. It's not. You can see some really fucked up shit on it, but it's not.
Isn't that what like 95% of the internet exists?
So no, I'd say no. There's a good chunk of it on the dark web. It's just it's. There's an infographic where it's got it kind of showed like the tip of the iceberg is like the normal internet, Facebook, Google, Instagram, and then underneath is like the dark web. That's not necessarily accurate. If you ask me, 95% of the internet is porn.
There you go.
Yeah, for sure.
In coming from you, that isn't an unlikely answer.
Nope, I've checked.
He's done his research.
I've done my research. No, but as far as the dark web, the first time I ever hopped on it, I was just going around. I found my way to a marketplace, You can buy weapons, you can buy drugs, you can buy fake credit cards, and then you can also, there's, I found this one, so that was like the one marketplace. Then there was another one. It was like this guy, and he said, it was just like a website for a guy, and he's like, it was written very cryptically. He's like, I have services to offer. And then he had a table, just like a table of like 5 different levels, like average civilian, 10,000, low level government official, 20,000, celebrity, and so on, up to like high ranking government official.
Hitman.
Yeah, a hitman, dude, straight up. Like on the dark web, just it's like he's got his services offered. He never said it directly, but like it was a fucking hitman website, dude.
That's crazy.
Fucking crazy, dude.
Tony, could you slide him that notebook real quick?
Yes.
Just write a couple of these things down.
So this next one is this is why you don't mess with the Ouija board, Benny.
Okay.
Amen to that.
You should never break. Number 1, never use one in your home. When you use a Ouija board, you are essentially opening a spiritual door. When you open a door, you don't get to decide what comes through. So if you're doing this in your home, you just opened a door for something to be able to come into your home. Rule number 2, if your planchette starts counting down the numbers on the board, you need to immediately move it to goodbye and close out the board properly. Because whatever you're contacting is attempting to come through the board, which means it's a relatively strong and most likely demonic spirit, and it is trying to come into your world. Number 3, challenging an entity to show itself or show proof of its existence. First of all, you don't know who you're talking to, and you just gave that thing an invitation. Second of all, anything strong enough to mess with your lights or move things around is typically a malevolent, aka demon entity. Number 4, if your planchette starts making the figure 8, immediately go to goodbye and close the board out properly. You are 100% talking to a demon. And number 5, to add on to the figure 8 rule, a very famous demon that really loves to make the figure 8. His name is...
It's the Ozio.
I will not say it, but he typically will start making the figure 8 and start spelling out his many names. He likes aliases so that he can manipulate you. It can be Z-O-Z-O, Z-A-Z-A, and even Abacus or Mama. So, if your board starts spelling any of these things, close it out quickly. Some people weren't able to, and this thing wreaked havoc in their life.
So this is that video is just a little bit of info for who is thinking or interested in using a Ouija board. If you happen to do something so stupid, something to look out for. Just trying to help you all out.
Have you seen that video? It's there's a dad, like I don't think I've used a Ouija board in grade school, but there's a video of a dad, and he's like, my daughter's having a slumber party with like 6 of her friends upstairs.
Yeah, and he like flips the fucking breaker. That's dope.
Yeah.
You know what was like super funny about that? Like Clipto is like, she's like trying to give all this good information and be like, here, this is what to watch out for. I won't say his name, and then she starts listing all his aliases. Straight up. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dang.
We're gonna flip the script here a little bit. We're gonna go to a little bit on double slit experiment, guys.
Nice.
All right.
Okay.
Here we go.
Wild and confirms that we're living in a simulation. Now, I've already posted about this video and it got 16 million views. There's already those of you that are watching this that have made assumptions on how I'm gonna misunderstand the experiment, citing Dunning-Kruger. I just ask you to keep an open mind, okay? Because it is your projections that are stopping you from seeing the bigger picture. So with the double slit experiment, it was originally performed by Thomas Young. Let's imagine that you're shooting marbles at a screen and they're going through this slit. The marbles that make it through would make a clumping pattern. If you added a second slit, obviously you would get two clumping patterns. Everybody with me? If you performed this experiment with the wave as it exited the slit would make a similar pattern because the highest concentration of energy in the wave would be right there at its apex in the center. If you do it with two slits, what you will get is what is called a interference pattern, where the waves will interfere with one another, creating these energy centers, interference pattern. So scientists performed the experiment with photons and electrons. It has been done with both. You shine it through the slit, you get a clumping pattern. So when you shine it with two slits, you're gonna get two clumping patterns, right? Wrong. What you get is that interference pattern. This shocked the scientists. They expected the photons to act like particles producing the clumping patterns, but they didn't. They produced patterns like the waves, creating the interference pattern. And so they wanted to see why this was. They decided to hook up an observation device. And when they observed the actions, the photons began acting like particles and producing the clumping patterns. So the photon, when observed, acts like a particle. When not observed, it acts like a wave. Now, I just want to point out, observation does not mean observing with your eyes, okay? In this case, it was using a measurement device. So don't misinterpret this as if you're looking at something, it changes how it behaves. That's not what this is saying. It is far, far cooler. And what does this mean? How does this mean we're living in a simulation? We're getting there. Now, some people will point out this is simply just wave-particle duality, that this matter can exist as both a particle and a wave. You can also look at superposition. This is simply something in wave form exists in all possible paths, and then once it's measured or observed, it is collapsed into a definitive path, from infinite to singular. Now, the smart people in the comments have probably already said this is simply the observer effect. You can disturb a system by the act of observation. Let me give you an example. If you're trying to measure how warm water is by sticking your finger in it, your finger is actually going to change the temperature of the water. By measuring it, you're actually changing it. And yes, the act of measuring, this observation device interacts with the photon, causing it to collapse from a wave to a singular state. But if you stop there, you're missing the whole point. Yes, measuring causes a wave function to collapse. Why does a particle change when you measure it? Why do certain aspects of reality take a different form when you interact with it? Interaction caused a wave of infinite possibilities to collapse into a singular state. What's fascinating is they've adapted the experiments. They did it where they shot a single particle. They shot a single electron at a time, and it still formed an interference pattern as if it was interfering with itself. How can that be? It's because it exists in all possibilities until we interfere. There's the quantum eraser experiment. Remember, the act of observation, collecting that data about it, causes it to collapse into a single finite form. When they erase the which path data, the interference pattern comes back. They even adapted it where they delayed the observation in the delayed choice experiment. The decision to measure was made after the electron had already passed through the slit. The results still depended on whether that data was collected or not. Okay, so what does this have to do with the simulation? Number one, anytime you hear someone say simulation, you need to stop immediately thinking it means computer simulation or video game. Here's some takeaways. What do the wave-particle duality and observer effect teach us? So observation collapses a wave function. This suggests that reality is not definite until it's interacted with, until data is collected, observed. You interact with the information within the informational matrix. This information itself is fundamental. Everything in reality acts as potential data until it is accessed. So this is the holographic principle theory. Essentially, all the information within this universe is encoded on a two-dimensional plane and is projected into a three-dimensional plane. So things like space and time, they're not fundamental properties, but emergent properties from the information that is being projected. And here's the thing, we are beginning to learn that space and time are not fundamental properties like we thought they were. Things like quantum entanglement, which show that information can be exchanged instantaneously over vast distances, seemingly in violation of our classical physics limitations. If reality were a physical interdependent system, this shouldn't be possible. But if it's a projection governed by deeper informational rules, things like distance, that's just an illusion. And this is why many physicists believe that the physical world is actually a manifestation and a projection of encoded information. So why is this important? Well, consciousness, for example, could be the mechanism that retrieves and defines this information and projects it into reality. I mean, you can look at things like the visible spectrum of light. We are only able to see such a tiny piece, and there's so much data around us that we cannot perceive. You cannot see the radio waves, but that data is floating all around you. But you can access it when you have a tool that can access it, like a radio. Or you can even access it if you have the right dental fillings. Yeah, there's cases of people with dental fillings where they can pick up radio waves and they hear it in their brain. You can even look at things like the fact that your vision only makes up 5% of what you see. The other 95% is a model that your brain puts together. You only see 5% with your eyes. Your brain is putting everything else together. If we function that way, I would argue the system functions that way as well. Because you will see these reoccurring patterns exist in the smallest forms to the largest forms. Why do you think the universe looks like a neural network? It's not random. This matrix operates on fractals. Things are repeating patterns. There's a reason why you can take a branch of a tree, and if you look at it, it looks like the same thing as the whole tree. It's all for efficiency. Anyways, this video is going way too long, but the fact of the matter is that we are living in a holographic reality. Your consciousness directly impacts this reality. And the more you learn about that, the cooler it's going to get.
Thoughts, gentlemen?
The best way to think about it is if you're playing a video game, like a modern one, like Modern Warfare or World of Warcraft, like you got your guy running around the world. The maps are getting huge in video games, just huge. So the video game doesn't load the whole map. I mean, it's there and ready to be loaded. But as far as your character's point of view is concerned, the game, just to make it more efficient, it will only render what you're looking at, because why would it render something that's 2 towns over? It would just be that. So that's what I think of when I hear the observer effect and stuff like that. It makes sense to me.
What do you think, Chambers? Are we living in a simulation?
Starting to think like we are. I'll tell you, like, first off, double slit experiment. I always love that because that's what was the catalyst for me to even look into like quantum theory or like quantum physics, mechanics, whatever. Like it was something that I could wrap my brain around and like kind of thrusted me into being interested into it. Being an like an ex gamer, I guess, like I agree fully with what Benny said, and it really helped put things like that in perspective for me, of like even like field of view, like as a human.
Yeah.
Like it makes so much sense to me. Like there's nothing that needs to be rendered or even like shown to you until it's put in your field of view, because otherwise, like let's just say we knew nothing, like we were just a baby, never taught nothing, whatever. We're sitting in the middle of like this open field, there's forests, mountains, whatever, but like we only know that exists. We don't even have the concept of anything else that exists about that. And like, so it does, as a concept, it makes a lot of sense to me.
Right.
But while watching that, it made me think of this thing that happened to me and 2 friends when we were a kid, and it blows my mind to this day. And it's ironic because I thought of it earlier today, and then it re-triggered the memory for me.
Nice.
Had a sleepover at my buddy's house, right? And we're like, I don't know, 13, 14 years old. Had a sleepover. He lived in a big house. He had a brother, mom and dad, whatever. We get up and we decided that one of the other kids who lived like maybe 15 blocks down the way, we were going to go to his house to get something. I'll be honest, I don't remember what the item was because that was not the important part of the story. But we were going to walk there, and it was either like late spring or early fall, because I remember there's no snow, but there's no leaves.
Yeah.
Or like, so it was cold out. But anyway, we get up. Nobody's in the house, like, except for us. We don't know where anybody else is. I look at the clock and it's like 12:06 p.m. and we're going to make this 15-block walk there and back. We get outside, sky is like that slate gray. There's no leaves on the tree, so I'll give you this, but there's no wind. 0 wind. There was no birds. There was no sounds of birds. There was nobody driving vehicles. There was no sounds of vehicles being driven. And this is like right off of like maybe 2 to 3 blocks from one of the major high schools here.
Yeah.
It was a weekend, granted, but it's off of 2 busy streets.
There should have been something.
No sound. We walked the whole way. Come back. Same scenario. Like no sound, no birds, no animals, no squirrel running across the street. Nobody drove past us for this whole journey. Get back. And it was like 5 minutes after I checked the clock when we...
Whoa, dude. That's pretty crazy, dude. Hold on. Daylight savings time?
I can't call it.
Well, no,
I
if
can't
this was
call it.
back then, clocks were like phones.
I'll tell you this:
Yeah.
I looked at the microwave and oven clock when we left because we were in the kitchen. I looked at that, so it would have had to been reset. And I'll tell you this: when we got back, still nobody home.
Mm-hmm. Oh man!
So unless somebody came in, I can't. I'll be honest, like because it was spring or fall. That's a good answer. Like I mean, I can't call it was daylight savings time or not because it was Sunday. Well, the weekend. I don't know if it was Saturday or Sunday. It was a weekend because we did a sleepover.
Either way, appliances don't automatically reset for that. So yeah,
they don't.
Yeah.
So nobody came in and left again while we were gone. But let me tell you, Blue. Even walking, it was just weird. Like there was something so weird. Like no wind, no cars, not seeing anybody. We even mentioned, I'm like, dude, this is like, where the hell is everybody? Like, what? And then when we got back, I'm like,
it's crazy. Man, it's fun. It's fun. Those are like adventures. Yeah,
I can't call it. I can just tell you, it was a real experience. It's too lame to make up.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like there was like, oh, this plane crashing. It's too lame to make up, but it was weird.
All right. Yeah. Next one is there's more to Earth than we thought, guys. Just saying.
All right. Let's see here.
An entire country we don't know about.
What if I told you there's a part of the Earth no one's ever seen? At least, not the people you know. Everyone's stuck believing the Earth is this perfect little globe where sure you just stroll in a circle. And boom, you're back where you started. Cute idea, right? But tell me, why don't we just cross Antarctica? Oh, right, because nobody ever has. You think it's just this cold, useless slab of ice at the bottom of the world, but that's the lie. Antarctica, it's not just land, it's a wall, a barrier. It locks us inside the tiny part of the Earth we think we know. And what lies beyond, that's where things get interesting. The people in power, they know what's on the other side. They make sure you stay clueless like good little sheep, believing you live on 7 continents. But you've got no idea what's out there. Whole continents. Oceans bigger than the Pacific. And humans who have lived beyond that ice wall for centuries were nothing more than their experiment, caged inside this small, controlled space. That's the real reason no one lets you explore Antarctica. They don't want you wandering too far because once you cross that ice, you'd realize we're not in charge of this world at all.
You know, I'm gonna keep going with this. I mean, I feel like we're eventually, like, it's coming. It's coming. You guys, it's gonna come out one day. I mean, you can't deny the fact that it's fucking weird that you can't go into Antarctica. Nobody's allowed to go.
Well, the scientific argument for that is that it's like the one last place that we haven't completely fucked up. But that's, I mean, that's just the scientific argument. It is weird. It's weird as fuck.
I mean, right though, it's weird.
But that said, just to play devil's advocate, we have royally fucked up everywhere else as humans.
True, but that's true.
Here's
Go ahead.
I mean, I was gonna say, here's what I find very interesting about it. Is like, I love these videos. I think they're cool, and I like entertaining the idea of there being a flat Earth, and like it sounds interesting to me. But here's one thing I will say, and I don't remember if we talked about this on a different video or a different episode or whatever, but there was a really good point that I saw watching like a clip similar to this. It was like, okay, so all these countries are always at war and they're battling over territory and tariffs and who's going to do this, who's going to do that, who's going to contribute what to these foundations and these, like, all these different things. But yet there's all these countries that have never ever broken this treaty about Antarctica.
Yeah.
And they all stick together steadfast and have never even, like, not a single one of these countries has said, fuck it, we're just letting people in, we don't give a shit.
Right. I wonder what would happen, like, say, I don't know, you're talking about like the big ones, Russia, Japan, China, America, South America, all that shit. But like, what if like some little country like, I don't know, Zimbabwe or something just sent some boats down? Would we like just like attack them or like?
I don't know.
Admiral of the United States. Yeah. Back in the day, he took a trip there, and his word is, He's a pretty trustworthy dude. Nobody has any reason to not believe what he documented. On to the next. This is a subject that it's kind of like recently started. It's becoming viral, like this subject, and it's a trip if you think about it. Mirrors, man. I'm gonna try this at home. I mean, really, when you think about it, it bends my brain and it don't make sense.
You see me? How does the mirror know? How does it know? I'm blocked. How does the mirror know?
Thoughts, gentlemen?
So the angle, this is the exact angle that they always use, and it's weird because like you're thinking, you put yourself in her perspective. Why would she be on the mirror if she can't see herself? But it's about the way that the angle of the light is. Like there's an angle for the light to go from where she's peeking around to your eye, and that's just how the mirrors work. If you could have a top-down view, it'd be easier to understand. But from here, I agree, it looks weird. Weird as fuck. People have done it with their hands too, where like you can see their hands behind a thing. It's just, it has to do with the way the light.
So there is a reason for this?
Yes. Yeah. It's just the way, if you were to map it out, like the light is bouncing off. I'm trying to think of how to like relate this.
I have a best way to do it. Mm-hmm. You love lasers. I know you
I
shot
do.
a laser
I do.
off a
Yes,
mirror
I do.
100 times and more in your life. You know when you're coming at the mirror with the laser, and then it bounces off at like basically ricochets in the same direction, like makes that V. Yeah. That's exactly what's going on here with light. So like, because he's in an angle where he's seeing her is on the mirror to the side, because that's where his field of view and where his light for the camera is being refracted to. So basically it's going past that blanket and hitting the part of the mirror that's still showing on the right side there and refracting back to the camera. Now, if let's say I don't know. I mean, I don't think there's really any part of that where you couldn't see at least part of her. But if you cover the majority of the mirror and you only had like a sliver, you would then only see a sliver of the reflection. But because of the light refraction and the space that's available, because there's so much space there, you can see virtually all of her, and you're seeing it from another angle too, and that's why her arm is blocking her face there, versus to the left side, you can see her whole face because of the way the angle is going.
Here's another thing I just thought of. Put a mirror on that back wall where like there's a door. If you were to put a mirror back there, you'd also be able to see the back of her head. Right? Like, you know, like if there was a mirror right here, like just a big mirror on the wall, you'd be able to see the back of her head from this point of view.
Okay,
but she wouldn't be able to see it, but it would look weird.
There is 100%. You guys are saying this isn't weird to you at all?
No, it's because of how mirrors are made. Like, they're not only made to look straight forward and back, they're made to look at any angle.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. It looks trippy. It looks trippy as fuck because I keep seeing these.
The untrained brain is gonna look at that. That just doesn't make sense.
Witchcraft to like, you know, if you go back far enough, for sure. It's a trip. But like, yeah, think of it in terms of lasers. You know, just bouncing around.
Lasers.
Yeah, lasers, dude.
and the thing too is like, I'm not sure if you're familiar with like how mirrors are made, but there's like a layer of glass, and then like in the old days it was silver. I don't know if I'm sure they probably still make some with silver, but there's then like a reflective surface behind that. So like there's actually like a thick part of it, and as we know, light bends as well. Mm-hmm. So like that's why we're kind of talking about refraction and stuff, is because the reflection is actually light refraction. So like, how do I want to put this? Like, everything that we see is based off of light bouncing off it and then hitting back to our eyes. And that's the same way that a camera works.
Gotcha.
Lasers.
Lasers. All right. So on to the next here. Oh, we were just talking about venturing over the wall.
Dark continent? You're telling me there are lands beyond the ice wall with no sunlight? Listen, don't take my word for it. Take Jonathan Hemmington's. I mean, hell, he's the one who streamed it live on the dark web in 2020. Guy worked for a private research institute for aerial engineering. You know, developed these just incredible aircrafts, undetectable from radars, incredible fuel efficiency, allowing for flight durations that could last weeks. Little did anybody know the guy was just obsessed with the idea of these outer lands, the ice wall, and one night he boarded a jet with a Starlink and his streaming equipment and headed directly down to Antarctica. He figured if he streamed right away, he'd be intercepted, so he waited until he was about midway through the continent. And as he started the stream, hundreds of people watched as he literally flew straight over what appeared as an enormous ice barrier. After hours and hours of continuation, passing over several different unidentified landmasses, he stopped on one of them to get a night's rest and continue on the next morning. But during that next day of flight, this was where things had taken a peculiar turn. As the sun eventually went down during flight, he wanted to wait until it came back up to get a safe landing. But as the hours went by, it never did. Eventually, due to fatigue, he was forced to land onto this dark continent, and little did he know this would be his last stop. Listen, this place he was in was nothing like we'd ever seen, okay? The environmental factors clearly showed this land had never been exposed to sunlight, pure darkness, and instead of trees, there were just these rock-textured spires that shot up into the sky.
It's like, that makes you think of that Vin Diesel movie from back in the day with the Pitch Black or something.
Pitch Black, dude.
Yeah, where he goes to the planet where it's all dark.
Gets his eyes like lasered up.
Yeah.
Is there any way we can get watch this footage?
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, I'd love to see the footage. Let's make a note of it. Jonathan Hemmington. I'm sure somebody captured it. If you stream anything online, somebody usually captures it.
All right, on to the next. Good old Buzz Aldrin. Sound like it is.
Dude,
nice.
He's keeping it 100.
What was the scariest moment of the journey?
Scariest? It didn't happen. It could have been scary.
Oh, man.
Circuit breaker.
I don't want to be presumptuous here. I can call you Buzz, okay?
That's a legal name, passport, driver's license.
And I am Uncle Coney tonight. Let's talk about this, because this is fascinating. I remember very clearly, I think anybody who was alive at the time does. I remember my parents waking me up, and we went down and we watched you guys land on the moon,
No, you didn't.
What?
Because there wasn't any television. There wasn't anybody taking a picture. You watched animation. See, you associated what you saw with...
I have very hazy memories.
Well,
8-year-old's question. That's my question. I want to know, but I think I know. Because we didn't go there, and that's the way it happened.
I am 100% convinced that we did not go to the moon, and all it was a space race thing, and they had to do what they had to do to make it look like we made it first. With the whole Cold War thing and all that with Russia, we had to win any means possible, you know. So, and all the footage, the proof, when the ship takes off with the glitter flying everywhere, and then the camera like zooming in and following the ship up. Whoever the hell was on that fucking behind that camera, man, he got screwed. He got left behind.
No, so the one thing that I always come back to with moon landing stuff is, like this was for scientific purposes, but like to squash any skepticism, they left detectors on the surface of the moon that you can hit with a laser, not like a laser pointer, but like a high-powered laser. And you can get lasers again, dude. No, you can. They left something on the surface of the moon to prove that we were there, and you can there's laboratories that have lasers power enough to shoot it and then detect the beam coming back, and that doesn't happen any other way other than to have a reflective thing up there. So that's the thing. And to be fair, I don't know how it works, but like that's just like the thing that they did, that they claimed they did, and I believe that. So.
I feel like at the end of my life, if I were to fake something like that, I'd like to set the record straight. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't want to go down like that.
I'll tell you this. I side with Tony. We never went to the moon. And if you did, you left a reflector, okay. we also saw the flag that they planted, right?
Oh yeah.
Supposedly, they leave a flag every time they made a moon landing.
Yeah, there's several up there, I think.
How come nobody has a telescope photo of a flag on the moon?
Ooh. We don't have telescopes that are that strong to see that. No. We have deep space telescopes that can see distant galaxies. We have light-based telescopes that can make this moon pretty big, but still, it's like you're at the top level of Google Earth, like where you can still zoom way in, way in. And these are tiny little flags. We just don't have.
So back when I was younger, me and my family went to Maui, and then we took a helicopter ride over the volcano, and then we saw this incredible observatory, powerful telescope. I mean, with the telescopes that we have now, even your damn phone, dude, can like get a good picture. I mean, you're telling me we can't look at a pebble on the moon from here to the moon?
Yeah.
That's not strong enough?
No, we have really strong things that can detect light from other galaxies hundreds of millions of light years away, billions of light years away. We have that ability. We have the ability to... on my phone, I've got a video of me zooming in on a sailboat that's like 6 miles away. And that's pretty good. But the
in
moon
your pocket, on your phone.
The moon is 250,000 miles away. So what you have to think about is like field of depth or whatever it's called. When you've got a camera, you've got to be able to focus on something. And we can focus on the moon when it's really big. I mean, there's really big blown up things, but you got to zoom in so much further. So, I mean, I'm sure an astrophysicist could explain why we can't zoom in on a pebble on the moon, but I think it would just require a it's probably a mathematical thing. You'd probably need a telescope that's the size of... Probably need a telescope that's like the size of like the city or something like that, that big for sure.
Hold up. You're telling me that we got all these satellites rotating the Earth that China's got, and they can take a picture of a license plate on a car from out there. And I grant it, this is not nearly 250,000 miles. But you're telling me that we can't have a satellite or something on the ISS that's faced the other way that can get us some pictures of the moon?
They can, and it does. I think it's just there's a big difference between taking a high resolution picture of the moon that shows the craters and stuff to get deeper and closer and stuff.
I don't care about the pebble. Show me a damn flag.
See that damn flag.
It's the same. It's the
Show
same
me somebody bouncing the laser off that thing. How do they even know where it is if they can't see it?
I'll bring it up next time. I mean,
I'm imagining this thing can't be much more than the freaking sledding saucer that they left on the freaking moon, and some dude can pinpoint it with a laser and be like, "Oh yeah, we only moved 2 centimeters." And stuff.
I feel like with our technology nowadays, we should be able to take a picture of the damn flag on the moon.
We got a rover on Mars. I mean, come on, bro.
So we left a bunch of space garbage up there, tons of it. I think they have it. It's like over a ton of space garbage. Same with Mars. We've got tons of rovers. And hold on. Let me ask you this: Did we go to Mars?
Garbage on the moon?
Did we go to Mars, or have we gone to Mars?
I don't believe that we went to Mars.
Okay, fair enough.
I have no idea.
Okay.
I mean,
we've got a lot of rovers up on Mars now. I think we have 2 or 3 rovers, which is kind of cool.
I'll tell you this. At first, I believe we did. And then when I started seeing the pictures, I was like, yeah, this is the freaking desert, man.
So Mythbusters, I don't know if you remember that show from back in the day. They have a full episode on this. It's awesome. And they debunk all the big... There's a lot of theories as to why we didn't. They're all valid. To at least give consideration to, but the Mythbusters did a big one on because people are like, the videos look fake. They just look fake, and
especially when there's a payday wrapper in the sand, and no, I'm just kidding.
But like the flag waving and stuff, they put a flag in a zero. Like they have a test chamber where they can remove all the oxygen, and they did a comparison side-by-side video, and they matched it up perfectly. So like they got the motion of the flag right, and this is what it would look like with zero air resistance and stuff like that. So I mean, yeah, it's
did you say thousands of pounds of space junk left on the moon?
Oh yeah, tons of it. Because you figure
that's why the aliens don't want us coming there.
Dude,
and
yeah.
shit. They're like,
Fuck everything
fucking
up, dude.
trash your place.
Yeah.
Don't be bringing their
Don't even
garbage.
pick up the atmosphere. I mean, come on, bro.
Well, you know about space junk too. Like, we fuck everything up, dude. Have you heard of space junk?
Yeah, it's like a lot of that
You
shit.
got a cloud of fucking garbage around the earth right now. Just a cloud of it. China fucked it up really bad for us because they had a satellite and they just decided to blow it up. And that's the problem with you know that one what is it, Armageddon, where they like send a nuke to the asteroid and blow it up and it saves the world. In reality, all that would do would be it would just make 1,000 little asteroids that are all coming towards the earth. China did that with a satellite. They blew it up, and yeah, so we fuck shit up royally.
Well, you know
all
what's
over.
crazy about that space junk though is that that's orbiting the Earth, and you know how fast that orbit is.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, 20,000 miles an hour.
Spacewalk and knowing that, like, I hope it all rotates in tandem, that they don't have to worry about like something just zipping past them, because imagine that cut your suit and you're out there and all of a sudden you just get vacuumed into.
They move at the speed of bullets, as far as I know. Like, this 14,000 miles an hour or feet per second or whatever it is. Yeah, it's crazy.
The shooting gallery.
Yeah, we're living in a shooting gallery, quite literally. Oh yeah, this one.
Dude, I don't know, man. I'll tell you this. There's a lot of things that scare me. Spacewalk is something I would never be able to do. Deep sea diving,
right?
Definitely not. And
There's an astronaut that has.
Spelunking.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Once I got to the tight spaces, like, I'm losing my shit, dude. It's over.
Absolutely.
Mr. Ballin, hell yeah.
You don't know Mr. Ballin?
I found his short. I didn't know what his
This
channel
guy,
was.
he's like the best storyteller ever invented.
Nice.
Yeah, he's really good.
You may have heard about this one.
There's this woman named Ellie Lobel. She came down with this mysterious illness. Doctors didn't even know what the illness was. She was just like fatigued for years and years. She just always felt terrible, and it started affecting her career. And then actually she got this like horrible divorce with her husband. And so she decided, enough is enough. It's time for me to die. So she actually hired an end-of-life care person, because doctors had told her that your organs are actually starting to shut down. And frankly, if you were to kind of mentally let go, there's a pretty good chance your body would shut down. So she thought, I'll go to an Airbnb in a beautiful part of California, and I will literally just stay in the house until I die. For 3 days, she laid in that bed and she didn't die. And she decided, you know what, I'm just gonna go take a quick walk and then come back and die. And they're walking down the sidewalk, and on their side is this beautiful field of flowers. But as she's staring at this field, she begins to hear a buzzing sound, and she looks above her and she sees there's a bee over her head. This bee was an African killer bee, and it came down and began stinging her. And a whole swarm came over to Ellie, and they stung her over, and hundreds of times. And so Ellie, now she's thinking, I'm gonna die. It's whatever's going on with me or the bee stings. But 3 more days go by, and she doesn't die. And in fact, she actually begins to feel better. For the first time in like 15 years. She's like, what's going on here? Well, it turns out right before Ellie got sick, she had gone out for a hike, and she had noticed she had this little mark on the inside of her thigh. She figured it was a bug bite, didn't think much of it, but it turned out she got bit by a tick that had Lyme disease. And when they bite you, they leave a very distinctive mark. It looks like a bullseye. And it stood out to her at the time that she had this kind of bullseye-looking mark on her leg, but she just didn't put it together. It would turn out she had Lyme disease. That was the thing that was affecting her for those 15 years, and she does some research about bee stings. And she discovered an obscure study done in the 1990s in Australia about the toxin in African killer bees and its effects on Lyme disease patients. And they made this hypothesis that a certain amount of bee stings from African killer bees, in theory, could cure Lyme disease, but it was an unethical study, and they couldn't do it because it would involve swarming killer bees on a critically ill Lyme disease patient. But Ellie Lobel unintentionally conducted the experiment on herself, and it completely cured her Lyme disease. 100% healthy now. She tours the world talking about the positive effects of getting stung by bees.
Dude.
Crazy, right?
Wild.
Dude.
Wild.
All right.
I mean, I don't have a lot to say about that, but like, that's like divine intervention,
dude.
shit.
Absolutely.
You know
right?
what I mean? Like, the random chaos of the world taught us something we never knew. We just theorized, and she was the sacrificial lamb that ended up not even being sacrificed.
Yeah. Love it. It's fucking.
Crazy.
That's a great story. That's a great story.
It really is. I love it. I love it. All right, this next one's fun. This is all right. Whether you believe in flat Earth or the moon or whatever, this is an astronaut, Chris Hadfield. He's a personality. He shows you that you can possibly, it's not impossible for you to get stuck in zero gravity. It's pretty good.
He's in a plane, right?
No, that's him. In I think that they do train in planes. They do train in those zero gravity simulator planes, where the plane falls down at the same speed as terminal velocity. So it's a great way to train. But I mean, I'm not sure exactly where that was taken. Could have been on the space station. Can you imagine?
Just like stuck there, like what the fuck?
Yeah.
Dude, the amount of effort just for him to move like a foot was crazy.
Dude, it's just like that when we were talking about if we dug right straight down to the middle of the earth, and then we got to the middle and we got stuck ping ponging.
All right, this next one. This is a great story. It's pretty quick, a minute or so. Fastest object in history. Do you guys ever heard of this?
I think so.
Is this the Raptor?
Nope. It's not a plane. It's not a car. It's not a spaceship.
It was a manhole cover.
A manhole cover, dude. Yeah.
All right, cool.
This is the fastest object in history, and no, your eyes are not deceiving you. It's not a jet, a missile, or even a spacecraft. It's a metal manhole cover. You see, in 1956, during the Cold War, the US military was testing underground nuclear explosions. To seal off the test site, they welded a heavy 4-ton steel manhole cover over the hole. It didn't work. The explosion was so powerful that it launched the manhole cover like a bullet out of a cannon. A high-speed camera captured the moment, but crazy enough, the cover was only visible in a single frame. Scientists calculated its speed to be faster than anything humans have ever built. For comparison, the Apollo 10 spacecraft, the fastest human-occupied vehicle, re-entered Earth at 25,000 miles per hour. This manhole cover, a minimum, and truly a minimum, because the data from the single frame wasn't enough to get an exact speed of 41 miles per second or 125,000 miles per hour.
Holy shit.
Shit was booking, dude.
So that left Earth.
Oh, it's gone, dude. It's probably out of the solar system by now.
There's somebody in the Andromeda galaxy that's seen that shit fly by right now.
Just chilling on their stoop, smoking a blunt. What was that?
Yo, man, you see that?
Yes. 41 miles per second is fucking crazy, dude.
That's
one frame.
Yeah. The ocean, we've talked about Antarctica a lot. The ocean is, it's crazy too. So yeah, let's see more about this here.
So this is an interesting thing. You see these pictures of the Earth, and sometimes you'll see like Google Earth's ocean features, and you think the seafloor is all mapped, and the fact is it's not. We've not even mapped 25% of the world's seafloor to a modern standard, meaning multi-beam sonar and GPS navigation. 75% of the Earth's seafloor is basically uncharted territory, and it's even crazier for the volume of the ocean. Barely 5% of the ocean volume has ever been explored with a remotely operated vehicle.
5%?
5%, yeah. So like that much volume, we don't even know what's out there.
Damn.
Yes.
The Leviathan is real.
It could be. That could be like the least of our worries. Who knows? All right, this is a good one. Have you heard about the asteroid that they detected? That's
I did. 2030,
35,
230,
a couple years out.
We have more of a chance of hitting Earth than any other asteroid ever detected coming our way, correct?
Right. Yeah. It's the first time the network that they have for like having a plan to like, what are we going to do, guys? It's the first time that it's been activated. So, yeah.
I guess it's the size of a city.
No, it's
it will take out a city.
It could absolutely fuck up a city if it lands anywhere near a city. but I think it's
not a global killer.
It's not a global killer, but it would be like it would be 100 times a lot worse than the worst nuke we've ever nuked.
Yeah, I heard it like the sweet spots, the UK, somewhere in the UK.
They're getting new numbers all the time. Like they're not exactly sure. It's hard to calculate, but yeah, this lady's got an update.
So this isn't the Texas-sized one that they were worried about.
No, that would be a world killer.
I guess it's like going around the sun now.
I think so, because it's gonna go. Yeah. It's gonna make a couple of passes.
Yeah,
before.
From what they got for data, is it before it left or before it went around the sun? That's what they're saying. And once it loops around that, then they're gonna really start dialing it in.
Right. The closer it gets, the better an idea they're gonna have on like how it's gonna impact Earth. Or if it will, where it will, kind of thing.
Yeah, and it all depends if it's like a direct, straight-on hit, or if it like comes in sideways too, depending on how.
Yeah, exactly.
Or also like if it contains metal, or if it's more like rock or whatever, it'll just like burn up.
Yes, yeah. The important thing is that it's we're talking about a non-zero chance. It's a term that you want to use. It's a less or a greater than 0% chance that it'll hit the Earth, which is spooky.
Kind of crazy, man. I don't know.
It's crazy, man. We could see we're gonna have some action going on here. All right.
I have huge asteroid space news. Some of it is good, some of it is bad. The good news is that NASA has been monitoring the asteroid 2024 YR4. They calculated that a few days ago, it had a 1 in 32 chance of hitting Earth on December 22nd, 2032. But new observations taken last night have updated those odds. Now, the chance of hitting Earth has decreased to 0.28%. That's the good news. However, the chance of this asteroid hitting the moon is rising. That chance is now at 1%. I personally do not know what those repercussions would be if this asteroid hit the moon. It doesn't have an atmosphere to protect it. I will let you know when I learn more. It is more likely that this asteroid is going to pass between the Earth and the moon. Now, these numbers have been constantly changing as astronomers are studying this asteroid, and I believe they're going to continue to change. But as of right now, February 20th, 2025, there is only a 1 in 400 chance that this asteroid is going to hit Earth. This asteroid is between 40 and 90 meters across, which is definitely big enough to cause damage to a city, but definitely not big enough for a mass extinction or anything like that. Nobody has said publicly what the threshold is for how likely this asteroid would have to be to impact Earth for someone to intervene, but NASA has shown that they are capable of steering and diverting an asteroid. They've done it before.
I will say this. There's a greater chance that that'll hit Earth than you do of getting AIDS, so...
Yeah. Right?
I mean, that's concerning.
It's not nothing, dude.
I don't want to fall asleep.
That,
what is that? The Armageddon, right?
Yeah, dude. Yep.
We know you watch that movie at least like 20 times. You're like, man. Sad crying, ugly crying.
So what? Oh, let's see. Okay, this is a good one. This is the I'm sure you've heard about this. This is the I don't know, Antikythera or something device, the world's oldest computer that they've ever found.
Yeah.
It's a good one. Michio Kako's talking about it. Cool. It's a real quick one.
The world's first computer was created 2,000 years ago. There was a shipwreck off the coast of Greece, and divers found an instrument encrusted in coral. It looked like a piece of junk. When they cleaned it, they realized, no, it's a machine. Then they took x-rays of it. It's a computer, an analog computer that modeled the universe. It predicted the eclipses of the moon. You turn a wheel, gears and pulleys would then move, mimicking the motion of the sun and the motion of the planets that modeled the known universe 2,000 years ago. How did they do that?
I mean, I've seen this before, but still, what?
Right. Well, it's back in the day, you got to think, like, no city lights, there's no light pollution, the sky was a lot brighter. You know, all they had to do for thousands of years was just look up at the sky and kind of just make observations. And I think that all kind of came to a point where somebody was smart enough to be like, okay, let's model this, and then they came up with a analog computer, which is fucking just crazy.
Okay. Talking 2,000 years ago, so yeah, I guess it checks out.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
there's a lot of things like this where it seems, I mean, they say it like there's a lot of things like this that have been made back in the day that is damn near impossible to make unless you were getting some sort of vision from space or like some sort of other knowledge. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, there's no actual way to figure out what they figured out without help.
Well, like I said, like they were looking up at the sky for thousands and thousands of years, and
I guess
also we lost a lot of knowledge when the Library of Alexandria burned down, and that would have been really interesting. But that
what was that?
That was a long time ago. That was before the pyramids were constructed, I think. But I'm not even sure.
In Greece or something? Or?
Yes, I think so.
Like like back in the day with Zeus.
Yeah,
and all them. Right.
Yes. Back then with the Romans. Yeah, Roman Empire.
Socrates.
Yeah. Socrates.
Socrates. Every time I think of that dude, I think of Bill and Ted.
Bill and Ted, dude. Absolutely. Yes.
Classic
be
movie,
excellent
man.
to each other and party on, dudes.
Absolutely. All right, and then this, I think this is one of the last ones I got before funny ones. Quantum search. Quantum computers are really confusing. They don't make a lot of sense to most people, myself included. Qubits, yeah, but like this kind of talks about, this breaks it down in terms of a maze and like how quantum, like algorithms and quantum just like methodology can be used to solve things faster than our current methods. It's pretty simple.
In a normal search, our agent tries to search every path randomly to reach the destination, and we cannot claim that the path we find is the shortest until we visit the entire search space. However, with quantum search, you start with one agent, but whenever the agent encounters multiple paths, we send one agent to each new path. This allows us to search more quickly. The twist in this situation is that all those agents you see on the screen are just one single agent in multiple places. This phenomenon is known as quantum superposition. At the end, when we find the solution, all the other agents disappear, and the real existence of the agent is at the destination. It's strange, but that's how quantum computers are going to work. When we compare agents, we can see that quantum computers can easily win. Even with an increase in problem size, the complexity of the problem for a quantum computer will be linear. Share your thoughts on this.
It's just way faster because they can do many things at once rather than one thing.
I appreciate this breakdown. This is really cool how that kind of like shows.
Yeah.
It's another way to show you if you're questioning on how quantum
right
actually works. This is really good. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because qubits, dude, like I'm a geek and I don't know. It's like, I don't know, man. I don't really know how to even explain them.
But I'm like totally not on your level, but that helped out a lot.
Dude,
that's cool. Very, very cool.
Well, it is a good breakdown for sure because it really shows you like the capacity of what it's able to do, and like it's kind of like we're at that new point of like a learning curve of like trying to figure that stuff out and like understand it, and like working in telecommunications for so long. When cell phones like evolved from like the flip phone to like the first iPhone, then we started getting smartphones and they started doing like a dual core processor, and then they had a quad core and then an octa core processor. Like a lot of that was Greek to me until I finally started realizing, okay, so basically this is like 8 smartphones all doing the work at once, and then do that. And I'm like, damn.
Exactly. Yeah, we're
like,
getting faster and
really
faster.
Cool. I mean, I don't even know where they're at now. I don't even think they call them that stuff anymore. It's just a A20 chip for the Apple or whatever, the Snapdragon.
Yep.
No, I don't pay attention to any of that shit.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like I get nerdy like that, so it intrigues me sometimes.
I don't have to. I got Benny.
Benny, what does this do?
Yeah, break it down for me, Benny.
All right, I think that's it. So we got funny ones now here.
This is one of my faves. It just resurfaced in my feed recently. Damn. This couldn't be any farther from the truth, man.
I hope you're fucking comfortable laying in that bed. Cause I gotta go to fucking work and it's freezing. I can't find my jacket. So I'm pissed off. We going shopping today, bitch? Alright. I'm going to work. I love you.
Yup.
Oh man. Nah, dude. When I was married, I felt the same way. It'd be like 5:30 or something. I'd be waking up to the alarm clock, and I would just look over, getting out of the shower and getting dressed, and she's peacefully sleeping. Doesn't even know that I'm up doing anything. Like sleeping through it all, and I'm like, I hate you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
This next one, this next one is a cool little trick you can do if you're beefing with your old lady one day.
Oh my gosh, you're kidding.
This is cruel punishment, man. It's always funnier when they have a country voice too, man. Did you ever notice that?
Yes.
Like when a girl's frustrated and she has a country voice, it's 10 times funnier.
Yeah, something about it.
But man, I got locked inside my apartment like the other week. Did I tell you guys about that?
No.
Oh my god.
You told me about it.
Oh yeah, Tazzle came over the last time when you left. When I closed that door was the last time that worked. Next time I tried to close it, freaking thing was stuck out. I couldn't close my door. I had to remove the lock to close it and then duct tape it and just deadbolt it so nobody could peek through the freaking handle. And then I called my landlord. I'm like, yo, I need you to come fix the lock. It broke because when I took it out, there's pieces that were broken. Like there's no fixing it. Like it was like,
man.
And he goes, can you hear me? And I'm like, yeah. And he's talking. He fell through the ice fishing. So he's like, well, can I come Sunday? Because it's like Friday night.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I guess, I mean, you fell through the ice. I feel bad for you now, but I'm like, I don't really want to go 2 days with a duct tape door and just a deadbolt.
Right. Oh man.
Kind of like having two locks here, man.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
All right, this next one is this is pretty funny. This is another one that resurfaced for me. This is a one triggered parrot, man.
I think we got it. I think we got it. We got it. That's the best thing that's ever happened. I don't like those cages either, hey? That's what it needs. Another one. These cages shouldn't even be in production, right? We made this exactly.
It's amazing.
I'm gonna tell you this straight up right now. My mom had a fucking African gray parrot, and that thing could mimic anybody to the T.
Mm-hmm.
It could throw my voice when people came over. They'd think I was in different rooms and shit. And it's to the day that she handed off because she was getting older. Because it was gonna outlive her. They lived like 60 something years.
Yeah.
She's like, I gotta transfer this to a new one or whatever. And that thing would mimic the phone ringing. It would make my voice and be like, "What up?" And then it would like start mumbling some other things, and I'm not gonna say here, but I'm like, dude, you freaking narc. And this thing would repeat things. And the reason why I bring this story up is that it can mimic anybody it knows. It can mimic their voice to a T. My mom's, mine, my stepdad's, everybody. It got the dog bark, the phone rings, any tone, whatever.
Oh man.
But I'll tell you this, watching that video, that dude's old lady cusses at him all the fucking time. He's verbally abused because that's his girl's voice, bitch at him, saying, fucking shit.
Parents are crazy because, like, I know there's a documented case where there was this like cold case on some murder, and this parrot got, you know, put to a new owner because the owner got murdered, and the parrot started like mimicking what it saw.
Whoa!
And they actually put the parrot on the stand, you know, dude, and it solved the case. It solved the case.
That's amazing.
Dude, the parrot cracked the case.
It's straight up, dude. It's look it up, dude. It's
I did hear about that.
it's crazy.
As fuck.
That's
It's
crazy.
sad. I mean, it's sad. Don't get me wrong. It's sad. But it's like it's crazy to think like. And our next eyewitness is Philip the parrot here. So what do you got to say about this, Philip?
All right, so this last one. All right, who all knows? We all know. Everybody knows Chuck Norris is a badass.
Yep.
And here's more proof of it.
Nice.
Don't look now. Chuck Norris is right behind you.
I heard superheroes read Chuck Norris comics.
I heard at night the boogeyman checks under the bed for Chuck.
I heard Chuck Norris's reflection won't even look him in the eye.
I heard when cops need cops, they call Chuck Norris.
I heard when Chuck gets in the water, sharks get out of the ocean.
I heard when Chuck Norris is hiking, grizzlies look out for him.
I heard Chuck Norris rides the motor without the cycle.
I heard Chuck Norris wears a hat to protect the sun.
I heard medicine takes Chuck Norris to feel better.
I heard what actually killed the dinosaurs was Chuck Norris.
I heard cats say they have Chuck-like reflexes. You think he's still got it?
I'll bet you a buck he catches a salt shaker.
You're on.
Hey, Chuck!
You owe me a buck.
That's awesome.
Chuck Norris.
Dude, yes.
There you go.
And this is the one Carter sent me today, and I literally messaged him back. I'm like, dude, this is literally the best thing I've seen in years. Yes. And I'm like, I'm definitely doing this.
We were in the middle of our tournament where my friend John said he found a body in the bushes over there. I ran over there because I'm a healing monk to try and help, but obviously my magic wasn't strong enough because the dude's body was missing a head. So my friend decided to try and use a necromancer spell, which didn't work, which I knew it wouldn't. And apparently we contaminated the crime scene because that spell uses a lot of glitter.
Green Bear, we gotta look him up on the socials.
He finds a dead body, tries doing spells on it.
Like, apparently my magic wasn't strong enough because clearly it didn't work.
Dude, stay in character.
This guy's fucking amazing. He's got a great series called Divorced Dads. Have you heard about that?
No.
So he's got his own line of like Magic the Gathering cards, except it's Divorced Dads, and it's got like Night Drive. It's got Alimony, the World Ender. And then like if you ever watch those card opening like with Pokemon or whatever, like they're always like doing like, and then they've got the holographic foil one at the very end. And in that case, his back, he's like, "Come on, house, you're going for the house." Dude, this guy's fucking awesome. We'll have to watch more of these next time.
What's the gap?
That's it, man.
That's it.
That's it. That's a good one.
Thank fellas.
Yeah, man. Well, we did episode 18 on the belts. Please hit the like, subscribe. A couple days we'll have it up on YouTube so you can catch it there. But again, all the videos we watch, the links will be in the description. So go show them some love, give them like, follow. In the meantime, watching. Appreciate it.
Conversation unknown. Taz.